Hello, dear viewers, and welcome back to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. I'm thrilled you're here, because today we're diving into a topic that has fascinated fans for years, the truth behind the bond between Can Yaman and Demet Özdemir. You saw the title. You know what we're about to unwrap. The so-called secret of their relationship has been whispered about in comment sections, speculated on in interviews, and dissected in every sunlit paparazzi photo from Istanbul to Rome. But the real answer isn't the twist most people expect. Before we get into the heart of it, a quick reminder: if you haven't subscribed to Turkish Spotlight Secrets yet, take a second to hit that red button and turn on notifications. That way you'll never miss our newest deep dives into the stories behind the stars. Your support keeps this channel alive and allows us to bring you thoughtful, unfiltered stories. Now, let's talk about the secret surrounding Can Yaman and Demet Özdemir, one that will catch you off guard precisely because it isn't a scandal or a plot twist. It isn't an explosive reveal or a hidden affair. What I've pieced together, from public behavior to carefully chosen words in interviews and the rhythm of their social media presence, points to something more grounded, a practice of authenticity and open communication, even while a million eyes are watching. Consider the world they live in. For two wildly loved figures like Can and Demet, every glance, every caption, every unfollow and refollow dance is magnified. Fans parse selfies for clues. Tabloids knit narratives out of a single bracelet or a shared playlist. In that relentless glare, a relationship can buckle unless there's clarity at its core. That clarity, I believe, is their true edge. It's not just how they speak to each other, but how they subtly shape the story around them, without resorting to distractions, without baiting the rumor mill, without pretending the obvious isn't happening. Think about the times they've stepped into public view together and it didn't feel like a rollout. It didn't feel coordinated by a dozen hands. It felt natural, two people in the same frame, in sync with their own timing. And when the moment called for distance, they didn't feed the frenzy with cryptic barbs or performative outrage. They were careful. Calm. Guarded in the healthiest way. That's not smoke and mirrors. That's discipline built on trust. Here's the part people misunderstand: honesty doesn't mean telling everyone everything. True honesty, especially for a couple in the spotlight, is knowing when to speak clearly and when to keep the door closed. It's the refusal to manufacture illusions. When Ken is in Rome tackling a grueling shoot, when Demet is in Istanbul anchoring a project that demands all her focus, they don't push a fantasy narrative of togetherness 24/7. They acknowledge the distance through their choices, not in long speeches. They allow the work to be the work. And they let their connection breathe rather than perform for the algorithm. The second layer of their secret is a hard one in this industry: prioritizing emotional well-being over public approval. That is not easy when your name trends over things you didn't say, when fans argue about your life as if it's a series finale they own. Yet the way they move through storms tells you everything. Ken does not answer every provocation. Demet does not fuel every headline with a counter-headline. They've learned the art of letting noise die out, of having the difficult conversations privately, of drawing lines that even the most aggressive cameras can't cross. This shows up in the mundane choices we rarely notice. It's in how they schedule time when the world is pulling them in opposite directions. It's in the boundaries they set about family, about shared spaces, about what gets posted and what never will. It's in how they choose not to weaponize their platforms when feelings are raw. Because when the glare is ruthless, the only way forward is to know you are seen and supported by the one person who matters most. Here is the part most people underestimate: individuality. The healthiest fame-era love stories are the ones where both people keep growing. We've watched Can transform himself again and again: action-driven roles, relentless training, a determination that borders on monastic when he prepares for a new project. We've watched Demet carve her path with grace and precision, elevating her craft, expanding her creative range, leaning into the dance between intensity and softness that has always defined her. Their strength is not that they merge into one. It's that they hold their ground side by side. When both partners are rooted, something beautiful happens. There's no feeling that one must dim so the other can shine. There's no quiet resentment in the shadows. Instead, there's energy, Can's boldness feeding Demet's curiosity, Demet's thoughtfulness balancing Can's fire. This isn't a fairy tale that ignores reality. It's two careers, two identities, and one shared intention, support without suffocation. But how do we know this? We aren't inside their living room. We don't hear the midnight talks or the early morning agreements. What we have is the pattern. The consistency between what they say and what they do. In interviews, Demet chooses words that respect privacy without erasing truth. Can, even when blunt, reveals discipline more than impulse. In public, there's a refusal to stage messy theatrics for temporary applause. That coherence builds credibility. People sense when a couple's public face doesn't clash with their private reality. So no, there's no magic formula. There's a set of habits: speak honestly, protect your mental space, and stay yourself while loving someone fully. Build a safe harbor in a chaotic industry. Accept that the camera is always rolling, and decide together what it's allowed to capture. We have all seen famous romances sag under external pressure. A careless comment becomes a wildfire. A missed appearance becomes a scandal. Careers turn into competition. And when communication cracks, the whole structure collapses. What sets Can and Demet apart is that they keep finding the quiet center. Even when the narrative around them gets loud, they lean into the basics that outlast volatility. Perhaps the most surprising truth is also the simplest: their power lies in being human. Imperfect, learning, refusing to let image replace intimacy. It's a radical choice in a culture where aesthetics often masquerade as connection. They are willing to be real, to talk about limits, to take time apart if needed, to admit when something hurts, and to come back to the conversation without turning it into a public spectacle. That kind of maturity doesn't trend every day, but it endures. Picture it. A Sunday afternoon when the world expects a joint post and there is none. Not because there's a problem, but because they are choosing an offline day. A quick airport video where they nod to fans but skip the soundbite bait. A birthday message that is understated instead of operatic, sincere instead of strategic. These tiny acts declare a philosophy: our story is ours first. And when the glare has been harshest, when gossip swells, when whispers say too much or too little, they have not let strangers' interpretations decide the fate of their bond. Maybe that means pausing, maybe that means resetting, maybe that means meeting again with clearer eyes. Whatever the chapter, the themes stay the same: communicate, protect, grow. If you look closely, you'll notice their shared fluency in timing. They know when to slow down, when to let a rumor starve without a response, when to post a single photo that says more than a paragraph. Timing is the unsung language of couples in the spotlight. They've learned it the hard way, and it shows in how rarely they are caught contradicting themselves. Here's the essence all of us can carry into our own lives, whether we are famous or not. Don't promise what your heart can't sustain. Don't trade your peace for applause. Speak to your partner before you speak to the crowd. Celebrate each other's wins without making them scorecards. Understand that privacy is not secrecy, it is sacred ground where trust can grow. These are not glamorous principles, but they are sturdy. They keep love from becoming performance art. So when people ask, what is the secret of Can Yaman and Demet Özdemir? The answer is restraint and courage in equal measure. Courage to show what is true. Restraint to protect what is tender. It's breathing room. It's the discipline to be calm when provoked, the grace to step forward together when it matters, and the humility to step back when the noise benefits no one. In an era that constantly demands more content, they resist becoming content themselves. In a culture that rewards oversharing, they choose substance. And in a field where careers can warp love, they insist that love be the compass, not the collateral. That should surprise us. Not because it's dramatic, but because it's rare. Let's be honest, the pressure will always be there. New shows, new cities, new headlines. But when the foundation is set, the house can weather the weather. The years to come will test them like the years behind them did. If they keep their rhythm, speak plainly, protect fiercely, grow independently, then no trend will decide their story. Tell me what you think. Have you noticed this pattern too, the way they favor peace over theatrics? Do you read their choices the way I do, or do you see a different map entirely? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I love hearing your takes and debating with you respectfully. Your perspective makes this community smarter. Thank you for watching and for spending this time with Turkish Spotlight Secrets. If this breakdown resonated, tap like to let us know, share it with someone who needs a reminder that privacy is powerful, and if you haven't yet, subscribe and turn on the bell. We've got more stories on the way, more nuance, more context, more truth beneath the gloss. Until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and remember, the real secret is rarely the loudest thing in the room.